All right. Thank you so much for watching 2023 or listening. It's been a great year. So we've had incredible guests. We've had Matt Best, Logan Stark. We've had kind of the regular Black Rifle Coffee lineup. Everybody that's worked here, we've plugged in. We've gone shoulder in on creating a ton of value with a lot of these guests. I want to personally thank guys like Drago that made it, I think, one of the best shows of the year. Earl Plumlee, he obviously has an incredible story to tell. Former Green Beret, he just retired, so reach out to Earl. Thank him for his service. Congratulate him on his retirement. 24 is going to be even better. We have an incredible lineup of guests. We're going to be retooling some of the formatting for the show. We're going to be going through doing the Q&As with myself, with Matt Best. Logan Stark's coming back in January. So we have hunting guests. We have military guests. We have incredible icons like Travis Pastrana that will be back, Tim Kennedy, Mike Glover, Andy Stumpf, and we'll be doing a lot of product reviews. I can't thank you guys enough for supporting Black Rifle Coffee, the Black Rifle Coffee podcast, and all the content that we do. I'm really excited for 24. I've got a ton of really cool content that I want to do. I'm going to go down the rabbit hole on coffee with everybody. So we're going to be doing coffee shop reviews, not only for our shops, because I drink coffee all around the United States all the time. I drink everybody's coffee. I'll be doing sweet gear reviews, throwing things off my roof, be shooting things with my bow, shooting things with my gun. I'm super excited. I can't thank everybody enough for listening to the podcast, watching the podcast, subscribing to the Black Rifle Coffee Club, subscribing to the ECS, supporting us and everything that we do. So I truly love and appreciate the fact that my customers and everybody out there gives us the opportunity to come back and serve them incredible products. I'm humbled by the opportunity to continue to do this every day. So on to the show.
The Black Rifle Podcast starts now.
On the wall. You need 6x6. You and one other person.
He can't. He's already hurt himself. He's done training.
Really? Can you climb that rope?
Can you climb that rope?
Probably.
You weigh 100 pounds. I could probably climb that rope.
No feet.
Oh, I gotta keep feet.
Look at that. He's got cord. He's not sleeping. You know what I mean?
Ooh, this is wow. That's a slick rope. Senor Andy.
And then we had this like operator session of like Dungeons and Dragons in a Guatemalan hot tub. It was like one of the single funniest fucking things I've ever been around, because it's like all of us in this gigantic hot tub in the middle of wherever the fuck we were in Guatemala. We were going on a coffee sourcing trip. So it was like we rented this Airbnb that was a mansion for like $30 a night or whatever it was, overlooking a lake. And we sat there, and Marty Scovelin and Edwin, all these dudes, and we just got like, I don't know, 100 beers, and we sat in this fucking hot tub for like 6 hours playing D&D. And he was so frustrated because he's, dungeon master level 6. I don't know. I always get the Ku Klux Klan titles confused with the Dungeons and Dragons
Grandmaster,
yeah, like Grand Wizard.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like I get it confused. I could call Grand Wizards Granddads or whatever the fuck it is, man.
You show up, you're like, ooh, I am at the wrong Tuesday night meeting. Fuck.
We're not rolling dice on this one. Oopsie.
It's like, guys, could you not share this on MSNBC for me, please?
What's the cross for?
You guys, what are we, wizards? What is this, man?
Wizards,
It's
awesome.
Cool.
But he was frustrated? Like, were you guys just
Not
kicking his
again.
ass?
Well, yeah, no, because everything turned into like we it starts in like a bar scenario, right? And the bar wench comes to gives us beers, and we're like, oh, can we fuck her? Can we all do it? How's this whole thing work?
Roll the dice to come.
And it's like you're rolling the dice to be like everybody at once or nobody or whatever.
Roll one, you go to
And then
jail
he's
for
like,
sexual harassment.
it's like, okay, man, you guys have been banging out this barmaid for like 2 hours in this game. You got to turn the page and do something else.
It's like, there's more to it. What?
Yeah. Hold on. What are we supposed to go on some adventure?
I'm not finished yet.
And then he's like, yeah, you got to go fight these archers or whatever. I'm like, all right, but when can we go back to this barmaid, man?
Hold on, I'm still coming.
Hold on. Okay, hold on. This is fantasy, right? And it's like, yeah. Can we fuck each other in the game? And they're like, what? Like, it's like, you guys need to slow down on these beers, these Guatemalan beers. Like,
I just love the idea of you showing up at an Airbnb. It's like, oh, how much per night? Oh, it's going to be 4,000.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's reasonable. You show up, I'm like, yeah, 40,000 shiny beads or whatever the fuck they use for currency down there.
pesos. I think so. Yeah.
In Guatemala, they use pesos?
I don't know. I just made that up.
Oh, well, I believed you. Said it very confidently.
It seemed like you would know.
Yeah.
Is that a racial thing? No, I don't know. I'm fucking clueless.
No. Have you guys ever played D&D?
Mm-hmm.
No, never.
Fuck no.
Why not? It seems fucking fun as shit to me.
It's actually kind of fun. Because you can kind of make up your story as you go.
It seems like it seems really creative, like on the spot creative with a little bit of structure, and it seems pretty freaking rad.
What's it?
What's your deal? Why do
I
you
don't
not
know.
like
I get bored if it's not like just debauchery. I'm just like, oh, this board game.
I don't know. We're bring Mezcal to the D&D session. 2
That's
bottles.
going to be dangerous after 2 hours.
Yeah, no, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, there's like,
Flipping.
I'm just going to attack my teammates now.
I killed Cody.
Where's the fucking barmaid?
Oh, mezcal. I brought peyote.
That explains why
those
she's
things a lot.
That explains why she's shivering in the corner with a Glock.
One of the reasons why we went public to begin with was the fact, like, I'm not going to let everybody win, which is like, we still have to be able to go through the American system. You can still be a great company. You can still go and be on the New York Stock Exchange, and you don't have to be woke. You can just go do it.
Yeah.
Now, you're going to suffer the plight of sometimes Job, depending on where you're at. But if we don't participate in these systems, and if we just say, fuck it, we're going to go do our own thing in these other systems, I don't think you can really affect change.
No.
And I still think we're in a place where we can affect change based on just most of us are fairly logical. I'm lumping all of us into this, like this group of people where it's like, we want freedom, right? So we want freedom. We want freedom to carry guns. We want freedom to, pay less in taxes. We want freedom to do, like, we just want more freedom. Like, I don't think we're going to lose that argument. Like, I don't know if a lot of people are like, actually, I mean, fair. There's a lot of people on the internet that like to defend this, but it's like, I don't think there's a lot of people that are in their 40s and they're taxpaying citizens going like, you know what? I want way less freedom. I want the least amount of freedom you'll provide me. That's what I'm in. That's what I'm in for. That's what I want. I'm like,
that's how they win the conversation, though, is because they don't frame it that way.
right.
They don't say, would you like to have less freedom?
Mm-hmm.
What they say is, would you like to have more safety?
Yeah.
And people, oh, yeah, no, I like safety.
Yeah.
I like being safe. And that's where you get caught up into the battle of diction, which is not fun.
Well, I used to talk to this quite a bit where it's like, we can make people really safe. Like, we can build a wall and we put barbed wire on the top of it, and then we can put guards at all the corners with lights, and then we can give you your own room that's also got a lock on it, like, and then we can escort you to and from, places where we can also, put eyes on you, like
The showers
food
aren't
and shower,
great,
right?
but,
Yeah, like, build them that place that they want to live, because it seems like there is a certain population or a certain portion of our population that's where they want to live. I think you should be able to just opt and go, I want to go live in that safe place, and you just call it a safe place. Go live in the safe place. You can opt in for more taxes. We'll co-opt your taxes. Maybe give them a job. They could do like license plates or stuff. I'm just saying, there's a system in place. There's already a system in place instead of you could call it the safety industrial complex.
And all you have to do is smoke weed with FPS Russia.
Right. Yeah. And then you can spend 2 months living safe, in a safe environment. Right? But it's
true.
It's true. Like, oh, I got something in my eye. It's like, no, you don't. You don't got anything in your eye.
Oh, it's so true though. Yeah.
Like I'm wondering, like, if you think back on that day, when you put yourself back into those moments where you're like, did you think about it when you were doing it? Like, this is fucking crazy. Like, I shouldn't be doing this. Like, I'm gonna die. Did you think those thoughts?
Yes. It got to a point that day where I started to lose. I tell people, I was looking through like a straw this big,
Right.
and it was getting smaller, and it went black. I thought I died, and I was at peace. I was there with my boys,
Right.
doing what I wanted to do. Well, then my battalion XO slapped the shit out of me and woke me up, and I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm still here. But, yeah, people ask that, all the time, like, would you do it again? What were you thinking? It was great. It's not normal to have somebody firing a belt-fed machine gun from 10 feet away at your face.
Right.
It's not normal. How I lived and everybody else got shot, I can't answer it. I don't know. I mean, I feel, thank God. I was hit with 3 grenades,
Right.
but they were all the homemade
Bullshit.
There was more fuel in it than there was shrapnel.
Oh, right.
So it looked kind of like a Hollywood type explosion. A lot of flame and everything, but not the punch.
Yeah.
And that's probably what saved me.
Right.
But yeah, I do remember thinking, none of us are coming out of here.
Right.
Honest to God, I did not think nobody would come out of there alive. And I had made peace. I was there with my Marines, and
How many frags you have on you when you stepped in there?
I probably had 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And I had 8 Marines and a corpsman, and
Right.
I was at the top of the stairs, and they were literally like passing them to me.
Right.
And I'm just chucking grenades, and then they're like, milk it, because they kicked one back.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm like, fuck, I've heard about this.
Yeah.
As all this is going on, you're trying to go back to training, like basic shit.
Yeah. Cook it off.
Cook it off.
So what's that like?
That was one of the weirdest feelings. I'm holding this M67 frag grenade in my hand, and it's like 1, 2. It's like I gotta fuck.
Yeah.
But
like that is like something that nobody will experience unless you've been in a grenade fight.
Right. But after they kick one back at you,
you have to.
I have to do this.
Right.
Or we're all gonna die.
Yeah.
So
what you think you actually held on to it for 2 seconds? Were you like 1,000, 2,000?
No, I think it was a 1, 2. Yeah. I think it was a fast count.
Yeah.
Because with the small arms fire going on and everything, and it's like, oh my God. And the guys, like I said,
dude,
like, milk that mother.
Well, I used to think about that all the time.
Right.
Where I was like, I fucking hope I am never in this circumstance. And thankfully I was never in that circumstance. But I was like, I never want to be in a situation where I have to cook one of these off. And it would be the worst feeling on the planet.
And you know what? I wasn't thinking this in the moment, but like after the fact, I'm like, this was built by the lowest bidder.
Yeah, that's what I always thought about. It's like, what if they didn't get the timing right?
But yeah, it was just like the days were repetitive, and like.
Were you just bored?
Sort of.
Yeah.
I mean, like for, 8 months out of the year, 6 months out of the year, you're like, no, I'm not traveling at all. Mm-hmm. The food's the same, schedule's the same. There's fun times, don't get me wrong, but your day-to-day it's a grind. So, I had some cool opportunities. I got to open a supplement company with some friends, wrote a book, launched HWPO training. So it's like these are all these things that I've been wanting to do this whole time. But I had one interaction early in my career where I think I had won the games one time. And then I was trying to do the responsible thing. I was going to buy like a duplex or a triplex, live in one unit, rent out the other. I was like, no, this is the right thing to do. And my accountant was like, what the fuck are you doing? He was like, if everything goes right and they pay their rent on time, they're the best neighbors ever, how much do you make? And I was like, I don't know, 24, 36 grand, whatever it came out to. And he was like, if everything goes wrong and they keep you up every night, they're terrible.
Yeah.
How much is it going to cost you? Like if it costs you losing the games because you're distracted. And I was like, I lose a lot. And he was like, do nothing but compete. Do nothing but compete. Like that's how you make your money. That's how, you're building your resume. Go do that. And so I just took that to heart. And I was like, all right, until I retire, I do nothing but this.
That's actually really simple and sage advice for a lot of people, because I have similar. That's actually way better and more clear. Yeah. But I have very, very simple advice for a lot of people. It's like triage your time. Yeah. And then what you do is you concentrate on the things that are directly yielding you a positive ROI, return on your investment, and then you chop out all the white noise. Yeah. Like, there you go. So if you're spending time on things that are returning a negative, meaning negative energy, negative income, negative, kill all that stuff.
That's the biggest thing that you just you want to be tough and nope, I don't care what's going on around me. I'm going to get this done. No, negative energy. That shit builds up. It's like, cut it out. Like for me, the best example is that when I first started. So I was in school full time. I'm carrying crazy course load, taking a full course load during the summers because I'm just like,
where are you going to school?
UVM, University of Vermont.
Yeah.
But I was hustling. I wanted to get the credits done as quickly as I could, and I would scavenge up 8 other students that would take a summer course so we could just plow through the whole summer and try to get our degrees done quickly. Yeah. Fuck, I forgot where I was going with that, but I mean, cutting out the fat. Oh yeah, that's where I'm going with it. I was in school full time, carrying typically between 18 and 20 credit hours. I was training, to go to the games, and then that summer I had a summer internship at an aerospace company.
Which one?
At the time, it was called UTC. Formerly, what was it? Goodrich. Okay. The big thing is land-to-air defense missiles.
Right.
So, as a young kid, college internship, this is the best one in the area.
Yeah.
I'm fucking psyched on it. And then it was sitting behind a desk and doing government contracts. Yeah. And you're like, fuck this.
Fuck that.
But anyways, I was juggling all these things, and I knew I wanted a college degree. I knew I wanted to compete in CrossFit because it was a good side hustle. And so I just cut everything out of my day. I'm leaving the house at 6 a.m. I have, gym bag packed, school bag packed. I'm getting home at 8 p.m. And it's just you're going straight to school. Right. In between classes, I got 2 hours. I rip to the gym, no pleasantries, no saying hi to anyone. Right. Very little warmth. And it's no, if you want to get the shit done, get the shit done. But it's how much time you can lose just the bullshit in your day. Mm-hmm. Little conversations here, getting worried about little things there, things that don't matter. And I'm glad I put myself in that situation 10 years ago because I'm like, oh shit. Yeah, the day's plenty long. Right. I just need to quit fucking around.
Right. Yeah, the day's plenty long. You just need to chop out all the white noise. Yeah.
Yep.
And I feel it. I feel it all the time because I feel it in the business circumstance and the context. If I come into the office, I get hardly anything done because it's and by the way, I plan my day around that. Yeah. So it's I come into the office to have conversations with multiple people that ultimately eat up most of my day. If I have a packed day of meetings where I have to get a bunch of shit done, I can't come into the office.
Yeah. Or just duck in the back door.
Yeah. Well, you and I talked obviously we've known each other for 10 years now. And I remember distinctly when we first met, you were talking about how you used to eat Chinese food out of the
food truck behind the library, man.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And you were training for the games, right? Yeah. And you're eating shit. For me, it was just that's what I had access to. Right. I was living in my parents' basement in a shitty apartment that had no windows. I was driving a $300 Like Cutlass or
like
some shit?
Oldsmobile,
Yeah.
1988 Oldsmobile. You know, half my wardrobe was from Costco. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
give a fuck. If supplements were free, they were for me. Like,
Right.
I didn't fucking care. I just wanted to go there and do my thing. And none of the other stuff mattered. And I knew, like, hey, if I do this stuff well, the other stuff will come. You know, it'll come here eventually. And I tried not to skip any steps.
Right.
You know, like just grind. You know, and I found, I don't know, like it became motivational to me of like being in the shitty situation and still winning. And like, you know, you find the silver lining. Like my old home gym had like 5'11" ceiling, so I couldn't go overhead.
Yeah.
Had no windows, had no air vents coming in. So it was about as shitty got. And it was it was like 200 square feet, the whole home gym.
Right.
You know, and that's where I trained every day. And then I won the games, and I was like, all right, if I can build a fucking champion there, like what's going to happen when I get a better home gym?
Right.
And so then when I moved to Tennessee, my home gym got bigger in size.
Right.
And then it went from like the dusty, grimy, dark, hot room to the perfectly manicured, perfectly clean. Like I have every piece of equipment. I have enough height. I can do everything.
Yeah.
And so part of me was like, ooh, am I going to lose my edge?
Right.
But then I just like switched my brain. I'm like, no, now if I built a champion in this shitty room, like imagine what I can do in this lab, you know? And so it's just kind of always finding those silver linings and just keep that ball rolling.
Yeah. What's that like when you go from being in this like shitty home gym, 200 square foot to, okay, now you're the champion. I mean, you're the fittest guy in the world. Like, how do you make that distinct change where you're like, I mean, does it go to your head a little bit? Does it kind of like get to you where you're like, your ego starts to blow up, or like who's keeping you in check?
I mean, nothing really changed for me.
Nothing.
You know, I think I won the games twice before I moved out of my mom's basement.
Holy shit. Are you nuts? Like, you don't know who you're going to run into.
Yeah.
So I just pulled out. Like, he got out of his car and I was like, yeah, or something, you know. And then as soon as he got out of his car and started walking forward, I just pulled back out onto the road and drove away, right? Because I'm not going to get in a physical altercation with my kids in the car.
No.
And, you know, this is a guy that's in a F-350. It has a professional logo on the side for a construction company.
How weird.
It was so strange, but it was a Tim Kennedy moment where I was like, who is the insane person
you're going to
that
get
thinks
shot.
that you're going to step out of a car in Texas and start walking and closing the gap?
Fuck around and find
it's
out.
like, whoa, dude, you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, and I got my kids in the car,
And
so
I got
I'm
my
gonna
kids
shoot you
in
in
the
the
car.
fucking
Like,
face.
it was just like one of those eye-opening moments where you're like, dude, I could be Tim Kennedy. The other one was like, we were talking about this, creating this competition where we were like, well, we're going to have this like shooting competition that's long range shooting, short range archery, like have all these different events, and then have like a section where you have to like put a bicycle together with a welder or some shit to ride it 5 miles, and then you have a smoker at the end where you just like box or fight or whatever. It could be like mixed martial arts at the end to declare the ultimate man, right? I think that's what we framed it up as. But then I was like, did I just invent a competition for Tim Kennedy to fucking win? Was that what I did? I just invented something that where I'm going to go and get my ass beat by Tim.
Yeah, exactly.
And like,
That's why weight classes exist, you know?
That's some people. That's just not the arena to enter with Tim, because he's gonna do nasty shit to you. I was with Brendan Schaub one time when he was fighting, and you know, UFC heavyweights, say we will, black belt in jiu-jitsu, enjoy that shit.
Right.
Deadlifting 600 pounds, and some dude like probably like 40, some civilian. We're in Brendan's car in his Porsche, and this fucking dude is doing the same shit, and then just pulls next to us like, you got a fucking problem. He's got the wrap around the sunglasses. And I think I said something like, I was like, don't get daddy mad, because if he busts, he gonna bust. The guy knew, because it was like, I go, look at his ears. Not for you.
Yeah.
No.
Turn on. The guy who saw his ears is like, oh, fuck this. You know? I'd love
That's
to
a
have
telltale
cauliflower
sign,
ears.
cauliflower ears. Yeah, you can get them. Just do them.
I was a
to
wrestler.
scare people
Nothing
off.
happened.
Really?
Yeah, but I wore my headgear.
Oh, smart man.
Yeah.
do you wear a singlet when you're?
I'm wearing one right now.
You're wearing one
Yeah,
right
but
now.
it unsnaps at the crotch,
Good.
so it's kind of like a leotard. What was the question?
Do you wear a singlet when you're doing MMA? When you're doing jiu-jitsu?
Only when I'm street fighting.
Yeah, good. only. So
and then sometimes just for discipline.
hold on, I have to get my singlet on. I think that would
and love making.
Yeah.
When it's my lady's lucky day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
bro?
yeah.
And I pull it off, and I'm like, this is what a father of 3 looks like. Yeah.
So I say, okay, I'm American. This is my country.
Yeah.
It is my moral obligation to support my country. I cannot build jobs because I have no resources. I don't know how to do it, but I can fight for America. I didn't know about SEALs at the time. I knew that it was not that. So what happened first? I fill up this selective enlistment, selective enlistment card, whatever the draft.
Yeah, selective reserve, right?
Selective reserve, yes. Yeah. I thought it's like America is at war. I fill it up, send it to them, and like next week I'll just go to war. And so I sent it out. I came, I packed my stuff because I was living with a bunch of skydivers. I say, where are you, Drago, going? I say, I'm going to war.
Your stuff.
Yeah. I say, where are you going? I'm going to war. I say, what war? I say, the Persian Gulf War. I was like, okay. Why would you go there? I mean, this is a war. You can get killed. I say, America needs me because I'm American. This is my country. I will fight for it. And so they're like, okay, so what did you do? Well, I said, I filled this contract. Say, oh, okay, you have a contract. It's like, came back the letter, well, thank you, but no thank you. You are too old. This is for young kids, like 18 years old, that you guys fill it up to send it.
Yeah.
And that's not a contract. So they just laugh at me, but say, okay, what you need to do, if you really want to do it, go to recruiting office. So
you were living with skydivers. Were you skydiving?
Yeah, I was teaching. I was by this time. I have an awesome life.
Yeah.
I mean, I had a job. I was a mechanic by this time.
Really?
I was fully established. I was Mercedes mechanic. Yeah. So I was going to Mercedes schools, to Saab schools in different cities. I was getting all these certifications, good pay. Life was great. Got into skydiving, and by this time I was AFF jump master. Actually, I was already teaching skydiving.
Holy shit!
So I said, well, so my intention was never join military and stay there. I just want to go to war, help out, and just come back, resume my great life that I had. And it just never happened. I just stayed. But so when I went to I went to Army office, and they start processing my paperwork. It took a while. And I was like anxious because the war will be over by the time you guys finish it. I was like, no, don't worry about it. And then happened that at my drop zone, when I used to skydive and teach skydiving, Navy SEALs came in, leapfrogs, to do demonstrational jump in Memphis. And that's they, of course, came to our drop zone, to my extra jumps. No, and then we start talking about this. Say, no. You need to go to Army guys, take this paperwork, and go next door to the Navy guys. Tell them that you want to be a Navy SEAL. I was like, Navy SEAL, I don't know what it is. But so they start telling me a little bit about it. And the more they tell me, the more I was fascinated and more fired up. I went, grabbed the paperwork, brought it to them. And they look at my paperwork and say, well, I tell you this, you are like almost 28, I was going 32. You are like 4 years over the limit to be to join the SEAL training. So we cannot guarantee you that. But I can tell you this, from my experience, he says, when you sign this paperwork, you go to boot camp, they make a SEAL out of you. I have no doubt about it. It's like, okay, if I don't become a SEAL, I will go and fight for America, any capacity they need me. I was sworn into the delayed entry program, and then like a couple of days later, I left the boot camp. But first, I called my girlfriend at the time, and I say, look, I'm joining the Navy. So I kind of know about it, but yeah, what about? I said, but I'm doing it next week. What? Well, this is not the news. We're going to get married. We need to get married now because if I go to boot camp,
being where you were to coming to America.
Okay, so after I was released from prison.
Yeah.
And again, I was mentioning about the trainings that we go. So I tried to resume my life. And what happened quite often that we're walking out from the gym, walking on the streets, the car pulls in, the bunch of dudes in civilian clothes jump out with the badges, say, you go with us. They handcuffed me, throw in the car. And then we drove. We drove like till 2 o'clock in the morning, inside the town, outside the town. So I was afraid that one day I don't come back from these trips. Then, and I think there was maybe like getting people used to it. So I went to U.S. Embassy. I said, like, I don't feel safe anymore. I need to leave. I went to U.S. Embassy and asked for help. And I think like within 3 months, I had a promissory visa to emigrate as a political refugee.
You fly to the States, and then where do you land?
So I didn't fly right away to the United States. It was actually the America had already programmed for refugees, for people like me. So I flew to Germany, and there was a center run, I think, by the State Department. None of us knew how America works, how it looks inside. All we knew is that this is the country that people are free. They can live the way they want to live their lives. The government is not stepping on them, not telling them what they can, what they cannot do. And as long as they are good with each other, as long as they are not attacking other fellow citizens, they are free to live. So that we knew by this time. That America was always that beacon of freedom that people look up to say that. And I remember when I was in Warsaw with my father, I was thinking, going from school near American embassy, I always like to stop and read those those they have like glass cases where they have all the information. I love to read, and I was remember why Poland cannot be like this. Why do we have to live under this oppression, these nasty, hateful communists? They never ask us what you can do for America. The only thing we're asked is, they were teaching us about America, how people think, maybe, like what to expect, what to, not to do.
Yeah.
But they ask us about only one thing. Say, when you come to America, what we ask you to do is respect our customs, respect our law, and respect our citizens. So, yeah.
So you go from Germany and then...
So from Germany, that's funny actually the story too, because they I was waiting for my assignment to America where I come, and they call me to the office and say like, they say like preferences about America, where would you like to settle down? So I say, well, I'm sick and tired of being freaking cold. So anywhere where it's hot, where it's hot. I say, how about Memphis, Tennessee? Do you know anything about Memphis, Tennessee? I say, well, I know that Elvis Presley was born there, but nothing else. I don't
You
know.
knew that?
I knew that, yeah.
Oh, wow, okay.
Right? And it was not really good to know in the communist country. They didn't like Elvis Presley there.
Assaulted through the breach with a...
So that's cement truck, and then post-cement truck blows up. You had 15 guys follow that.
And they were postured pretty close because they, they ran across the airfield, and I jumped in a Toyota and drove over to where the explosion happened. And we got there about the same time. So when I, map it out, I'm like, how, where were they at?
Right.
And how ballsy to be wearing a suicide vest and posture close to a 5,000-pound bomb.
Yeah.
I was like,
So those 15 guys were all wearing S-vests?
They're all wearing S-vests. All had brand new AKs with the 40 millimeter launchers.
Oh, wow.
And all had brand new Chinese armor-piercing incendiary ammunition.
Wow.
That was like weeks old. So, which I'd never really seen that before either. Because we were like digging through this stuff, and the AK hadn't been in a cache for like, 10 years. It's like brand new. And the ammunition also hasn't been in a cache for years. It's like brand new manufactured ammunition.
And did they have was it like HE for the 40 millimeters?
Yeah.
They had.
Yeah. So as they assaulted online through the breach, and they must have had 30 or 40 grenades each, because as they were kind of trotting across the airfield, they were just shooting 40 Mike all over the camp.
So it's indirect going off too. So you have indirect coming in from, and what is it like? What are they?
So we had them shooting their 40 Mike all over the place.
Yeah.
And they actually hit. We were doing or I wasn't there, but our company was doing a rehearsal for the change of command. And that's how my sergeant major got his Purple Heart, is he had the key leaders for this change of command rehearsrsal, and a 40 Mike round landed in between him and the nearest team sergeant.
Wow. Right in between them.
Yeah. And have you ever seen one of those? They hit, it primes, and then they roll a little bit and then detonate.
I didn't see. I
haven't seen it either. Yeah. But apparently that's how they work.
So they hit, and then they roll.
They roll, and it's like a slight delay.
Yeah.
Because they were like, holy shit. And then like Tony turned, and that's his Purple Heart. He's got it all on his back.
Wow.
But we make fun of him for running away.
Of course, right? Yeah.
And then the first team sergeant, I can't remember his name right off the top of my head, but he was a 7th group team sergeant, and he was standing there I'm like, whoa, and they ate that together. But then we also had they had a mortar section set up 180 degrees from where those guys came in.
Okay.
And it was just, they were doing little 3-round fire missions off of.
What type of mortars were they dropping?
60 millimeter mortars, yeah. And they had they hit key infrastructure, and then they just started hitting all the major avenues that you would use to maneuver around on the camp, just to suppress anybody driving around.
So you come in on this Toyota. Do you see these guys come in through the gate?
I didn't see them coming in through the gate. I saw the breach, and I was like, we figured out rapidly what the intent of the VBID would be. And so I was a sniper, had my sniper rifle, and I was like, perfect. I'm going to get up on high ground right here.
Right.
And anybody that comes to that breach, they're going to get it. Unfortunately, we parked right in the middle of their ORP after they crossed the airfield. So as we pulled into basically a little half circle of Taliban fighters, and us and our Toyota and the 2 guys on the 4-wheeler. So we pulled right into that half moon, and they just started shooting us to pieces at about 10 meters.
Holy shit!
And I still didn't figure it out until, because I could see all the fire coming in and hitting us, but if you don't have line of sight to where the bullet's coming from, I was they had a base of fire, PKM covering their movement.
Got it.
So I thought that all that was from that machine gun that was 200 meters away.
Right.
So I had our driver pull in to block that fire with the truck, because we had the guys on the 4-wheeler were instantly hit.
Right.
And then I cocked my door open, and as we made that turn to block the PKM, we pulled into 7 guys standing around in a circle, and I got my door open on the Toyota looking at them. And we had a short
here we are.
Oh dear. And I had a Mark 20.
Yeah.
And I was getting ready to climb out, so I had the buttstock facing outside of the door, which didn't scare them. They're not, the Taliban's not scared of buttstocks. Yeah.
Okay.
And they looked around like, well, they're here, let's do this, and they started shooting the shit out of us.
Did you get shot right there?
I didn't. Which Drew Busick was he was the Fox on my team, and he came to the B team with me. He was in the back seat, and he's very upset about this fact, because every time they would shoot at me, it would miss, and he was sitting in the back seat, and they would hit him. But I didn't get shot. Actually, the entire battle, I didn't get shot.
Which is
and he got shot basically every time one of these guys pulled.
How many times did he get shot?
I don't know. Yeah. And luckily, he never actually got a good full hit. Yeah. It always bounced off of something and then it hit him. So he's got these long. It looks like he got in a knife fight, really, because it would be a bullet. Yeah. It would hit hit the armor on the truck, and they would come through as just a big flat throwing star.
Yeah.
And it ruined most of his tattoos. So now all his tattoos have all these weird scars on them.
Well, those are really cool scars, though. You think about it. How many people have those?
Right, almost nobody. Yeah. But if you paid a lot of money, and he was married, so dropping $800 on a tattoo as a single guy is one thing, but as a married guy, and now the tattoo's ruined. Your wife is gonna really give you a case of the ass over that. Yeah. But no, I never got shot. They habitually missed me for some reason. Don't know why.
It's incredible.
I think I always tell people. What
did you shoot back at them with?
So I got my rifle turned around, and pulled the trigger on it, and I fired one round, and I was just kind of staring over the turret caps, and I remember I dumped it about 2 feet low, and it knocked. They all did this flinch because it knocked gravel and dirt all over them, and my rifle jammed.
Of course,
yeah. Well, the reciprocating charging handle. Yeah. I think when I stuck it out, I grabbed that door of the truck and hung it up, because that rifle, it never jammed before and it never jammed after. I have no idea for sure why it decided to jam one round in this particular day. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've been literally beat half to death that when the rifle goes down, the pistol comes out.
Right.
So I drew my pistol, hopped out of the truck, and just started closing the distance. And honestly, I thought that I was just buying the guys in the truck a little time to figure something out, because there was at this point at least 3 to 5 guys.
What pistol did you have?
A Glock 19.
Okay.
And I just started basically doing the most stressful El Prez ever.
Right. The most stressful El Prez. So you got a Glock 19. You got a red dot on it. You got no red dot. You just got iron sights. You pulling out of a car. These guys are what, 10 yards?
Yeah. And
how many? 9?
Which is
9 guys.
Well, to my front. Well, they're in a half circle, so I probably had like 7 that I was dealing with here.
Right.
And then by the time I get out of my truck, because Chief and Matt, they killed one of them, and I remember the 3 guys off to the left, and then movement off to my right, but it was a little bit further, and I had other things going on. So yeah, that many. It was a little. I remember as the stress added up, my memory of the battlefield starts, shrinking down to this tiny little focus. But 10 meters is pistol distance, so it's a.
Were they shooting at you at the same time?
Yeah, they were shooting at me. They just kept hitting Drew and Nate Apkermeyer in the truck, and I think I was moving toward them, but at an oblique angle, and I could I had practiced shooting on the move, and so I could hit a moving target on the move, and they just couldn't.
Got it.
Or God takes care of drunks and fools, and I'm dual qualified.
So you're out, you're shooting with your pistol. Like you go through an entire mag.
I go through an entire mag. My gun belt was in the truck. I hadn't put it on yet, so I didn't have a reload for my pistol because I had my fob runner.
Right. So
I had a concealed carry.
Yep.
With my magazines on my gun belt. I had this whole process. They interrupted it, and my rifle's jammed. And we don't really have a drill for that. Yeah. So I invented one. So I pulled my hand grenade out.
Right.
And, pulled it. I thought I cooked it off, about 2 or 3 seconds, but it was probably like, a quarter second.
Yeah.
But I threw it just blindly in between us because I figured anybody that closes the distance on me while I'm fixing my rifle, they're going to eat this hand grenade.
Right.
And then went to work on my rifle, doing remedial action on it, which I'm super proud of. This part of the story, I think it's the coolest part, is that I threw the hand grenade, and then as the grenade detonated, I was sending my bolt home on a clean mag with a clean round. And everybody's like, cool. I'm like, no, I fixed a complex malfunction in a Scar Heavy in like 5 seconds. That's like really good.
It's really good.
That's the most impressive part of the story. I guess. I'm like, you're dumb. You don't know anything about stuff. But, I got my rifle up, and one of the guys, when I was closing with the pistol, I hit him in the pelvic girdle. Mm-hmm. So he wasn't dead, but he wasn't going anywhere. And when I threw that grenade out, because I just threw it, out there.
Right.
But it stuck in between his hip and the ground.
Interesting.
And it just stuck right there. And he'd never tried.
He took that.
He took that, and he didn't even try in
Did he have an S-vest on?
Yeah.
Did it?
And it was the only S-vest that didn't detonate.
Huh.
So he ate the grenade. It pretty much blew him in half.
Sympathetically detonate.
That was literally, we had to blow his vest afterwards. And it's, it's just one of those. My grenade kill guy, the vest didn't detonate. Everybody else I shot, their vests exploded. Weird.
That is interesting. So were the vests detonating upon when you would shoot them, and so they weren't detonating, you were detonating them.
Yeah. So
at time of impact because of the velocity, obviously. Because of what was it?
Yeah. Well, one of them at like 100 meters, I shot this next guy, and detonated his vest, and then the next guy I shot him through the vest. It didn't detonate. But it started smoking, and then it just went exothermic 3 or 4 minutes after I shot him and detonated. So quality control at the HME lab.
Right.
So
Yeah. So how long does this go on?
So the whole gunfight lasted about 9 minutes. I think 6 for actual exchanging rounds, and then it was over.
Was this the most intense gunfight you've ever been in?
Yes.
Didn't have the interwebs. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
How fucking lucky.
You know?
Like when you think about like being in the agency back in the heyday, like in the 50s, it'd be like, bro,
do whatever you want.
Come on.
Yeah, you can kill the president.
yeah. 1960, yeah.
I think they
That's
did.
weird. I think they did.
Yeah.
I somebody was asking me about it. I was like, and everybody's heard my opinion on that. I'm like, okay, so let me just unpack this. I'm going to give you a 2-minute unpack for this. Okay, so me and all my buddies that have been going around for fucking years, let's say 7 years, and actually from 1940 to 1960, let's say me and all my buddies, we have an endless slush fund of money, and we've been cruising the globe, overthrowing countries, and conducting assassination for 20 years. The president of the United States rolls out of bed one day on the morning of our operation when we're expecting air coverage and says, fuck it, you guys don't get air support. And then fires most of us. How does he not get a moonroof? That's all I need to know. Like, how does he keep his fucking head on his shoulders? He doesn't. You just fucking
and then
screwed over.
And then your men that you trained are machine gunned down on the beach, and you're dealing with guys who were battle hardened at the end of their careers. You're damn right you're gonna off that
dude. You are hard T at the end. Fuck
yeah.
You roll out of bed the morning we're getting ready to conduct a ground invasion, a big one that we've been training for since the Eisenhower administration. Like, we've spent countless hours. We've got like 1,000 dudes on the beach.
There was a Mew steaming off the coast, just sitting there ready to go.
Like,
and I told you I did my senior thesis on this.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and so my dad was a fighter pilot in the Air Force.
Right.
His friend was one of the guys that got pulled over to provide air cover. He was in the air.
That's
and
fucking cool.
So this is the only A I ever got in high school, by the way. He wrote me a letter.
No way.
To put into the thing about his
badass.
experience. And he said he flew air cover over the top of the beaches and would watched the what are those big
the APCs?
Yeah, the APCs or the anti-aircraft.
Yeah.
You know, the Soviet anti-aircraft.
Yeah.
They leveled those things down and were like,
fucking
strafing the dudes in the water. And he said it's the only time he's ever not been proud to be an American. He said, I was ashamed to be an American at that moment.
Yeah.
And, it's like, anyway, that was crazy. But
my point in that entire conversation is like, you don't even need to think about the conspiracy about Lee Harvey and all these other guys.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, man, I'm just telling you from personal experience, from knowing a bunch of dudes in this industry, that's like, you plan a ground invasion in 1960, like outside of technology today, with us, a bunch of people like us that are actually more battle hardened, like they hit the fucking beach of Normandy. They jumped into Italy. They were in fucking Africa. They did all this stuff. These are the guys that are the subject matter double PhDs in assassination, sabotage, and covert warfare. Like, they are the guys. Oh, you decide between orgies that you're just gonna pull air support, and you like, how did you think that was gonna end up for you as a guy that were like, you have no dexterity or even a closeness to the relationship of these are the people that I'm just getting ready to fuck over, dude. Fucking over the mob's one thing. You can sick out the FBI and like go door to door. You screw a gaggle of morons like us, like, ooh, golly,
and maybe it was
man.
the right
It's
call.
nasty.
But let's make it a little earlier.
Make it earlier, not morning of, dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, not when boots are hitting the water.
Yeah.
It's too late. You're hard committed at that point.
Yeah.
It's too late.
You've got men on the beach.
Yeah.
But
in either way, like it's your duty, which I find it ironic that he wrote a book called Profiles in Courage, and then he supposedly made this incredible decision the morning of that was like saved us from World War III against the Soviets and blah 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 blah. It's actually no. You just let thousands of men die on a beach, and then or I should say hundreds and then thousands were imprisoned after that. and you decided that was the best because that's going to hide the American intervention if we had aircraft, then they would know it was us.
Because
like, oh my God, what?
It's a big secret
Yeah.
that we want Castro out of Cuba.
They were holding parades in stadiums in Florida. They were like Cuban exiles were like marching around in uniform. Oh man, they're never gonna find out it's us. Who knows? Like anyway, like by the way, who cares if I'm wrong? It's still funny to talk about.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, could have been the right call. Yeah.
Maybe it was.
And how long was that on the news for? Oh, by the way, we probably did it.
Oh, the exiles. The exiles had a ground invasion in Cuba. That was what was reported. Like,
Right.
Walter Cronkite was like, oh, a gaggle of organized Cubans decided to try to take Cuba back. Meanwhile, what? The infrastructure and logistics required to conduct a fucking
amphibious invasion.
What? Yeah, some exiles with a couple fishing boats. Yeah, that's what they did. You're right.
That's hilarious. I love
But
it.
you see what I mean.
100%, yeah. And it was on the news, what, was that a couple months ago? My timeline is completely fried, but when they was Twitter, whatever, X, oh yeah, we probably, that was probably us, Yep, everybody just went, yep, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, wait a second. That's a big deal. Like, we've been talking about, did the agency hit that dude for how many years? And they're like, probably declassified X or Y or Z. And you're like, yep, never mind.
Never
Probably
mind.
us.
And
Don't worry
there's
about that.
and there's aliens.
And there's aliens.
No big deal.
I think that's a distractionary device.
Yeah.
I think that's my two. I think this is a distractionary advice, which is
I
like,
concur on that one.
and I'm just like trying to unpack this and follow my logic for 2 seconds, which is, okay, so if aliens landed on Earth, okay, the technology required for aliens to land on Earth means that they're so far more advanced than we are that we have, essentially it would be like a dog looking at us. Like they don't have the same level of comprehension as we do, not even close. And okay, so is it just like an experimental ship with a couple of these small guys like cruising around and they just like forget them in space? Like they crash. Okay, so let me just I'm going to rewind. So you travel the equivalent of thousands of years.
Yeah.
In a technology that is the equivalent of us versus a dog. And you crash?
And you crash.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, come on. You don't crash. Like, you don't. I'm sorry, guys. Like, it doesn't work like that. You can't, like, counteract physics as we know it, as a species, as a fucking dude walking around upright, and then all of a sudden have the technology to travel, like, billions of fucking miles. And then, oops, we fucking ran out of gas? Like, what? What the fuck are you talking about? You're not crash landing on anything. This doesn't make sense, man. And this was like...
Or just get observed.
Yeah.
Like, if they don't... If you've got that technology, you're not going to get observed if you don't want to be observed.
No.
You're just going to hang out.
Well, that's the real question is, do you want it to be true?
Yeah.
Is it a distraction? Is it not a distraction? Do you want it? I want it to be true so bad. I want it to be true.
Yeah.
Like, I really do. Because, I mean, come on,
Because
man.
why not?
Yeah. Like, we need something else. You know what I mean?
We need some shit.
We need something.
Yeah, we need somebody else to fight, right?
Or yeah.
Yeah. Maybe that'll bring us together. Finally, North Korea and America together to fight the aliens.
The common enemy. Yeah.
Right.
In the sky.